Hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Premier Squad podcast. I'm your host, Jerome, and we're a group of guys that have come together to share our passion for the characters and stories that we have had the chance to experience so far in our lives. If you're joining us here in the beginning as we go about building our competency in this area of podcasts and video making, I just want to extend my sincere gratitude. And with that, welcome to the squad. Welcome to our first segment. We'll be going over Daredevil Born Again. I have my co-host with me, Ken, as well as some guests from our cabal of diehard fans. I have Dom, Grinch, and James with me. Ken, if you'd like to start us off, we're going to be going through pros and cons, your favorite scene, as well as a score out of 10 for the season so far for Daredevil Born Again. Take it away.
Thank you, thank you. So, just right off the top, I've enjoyed this season much more than season two. This season, I felt like has been way more cohesive. Obviously, we all know there was a lot of behind the scenes issues. They brought in like new showrunners,
Mhm.
last season just felt Frankenstein together. But this feels very natural. I'd say like to hit on a few strengths. I think the side characters. I thought the side characters last season were like pretty lackluster, but this year, Buck, Daniel Blake, and Charles. So Shaggy,
Yeah,
the
I agree.
first Ghostface killer. We're talking about the
Shaggy.
realest Ghostface
Shaggy,
killer.
yeah. I was going to
Uh,
say the same thing. I had him listed as Shaggy in my notes.
he's Shaggy to a lot of people, but he's the first
Yes,
Ghostface killer to me. But like,
yes,
and I think
true.
he brings such an interesting dynamic with Kingpin. I mean, every villain or antagonist that shares the screen with Kingpin is inferior to him. They're written to be inferior. Physically, they're inferior. But what I really like
Yes,
about him is, okay, like you're the mayor of New York. That's great. That's awesome. Fist, that's your city. This is the
yes,
CIA. Like he
yes,
like is working with Valentine, who has access to an Avengers team. So it's just a
yes.
really
Operating on a
cool.
national scale.
Yes, yes. So it's just a
Take the
really cool
city.
dynamic to see like those, two parties like go at it as opposed to Fist really just being only physically and really challenged by Matt. And then just a few things too, like my favorite scene. I'm probably sure everybody will say this, but I think really getting to see Bullseye let loose. I mean, he
In the
called,
diner.
yeah, he called the anti vigilante task force on himself, and they showed up,
Mhm.
and you know that they wish it was Frank. They
After
wish it
the,
was
the banana milkshake.
Frank.
Such a
Love it.
great scene.
But yeah, I love
Unbelievable.
that. I love that
Yeah,
because I really think he killed like 20 people. I
dude.
think he killed at
Crazy.
least 20 people that episode.
Mhm.
And
But
a
just
lobster.
to, yeah. But just to yeah, I mean, just to wrap it up too, I think like the action scenes, I mean the choreography. What I really love about Matt and the action scenes this year, of course, like with the radar sense, he uses his surroundings so well, but
Yes.
you really get to see how well he utilizes some of his like vigilante teammates. So Jessica Jones, swordsman. So like those action scenes have been really fun and exciting to watch. I hope Luke comes like, at the end. That would be great. But overall, I'm really liking the season, like way more than last season. So yeah, pretty positive for me. I'd say up until this point, probably like a seven. I mean, it's hard to give it a definitive score until I see how they
Yeah.
stick the landing. But up until now, probably like a seven, 7.5.
Okay. If we'd like to shift over to you, Dom, go on and take it away.
Yeah, great points. Some of the pros that I've liked this season have kind of been like what Ken said about the way that Daredevil's been moving. I really like the way he's used his clubs more this season to not just like get around from point A to point B, but also in action. It makes him dodge attacks, the way he's using them, the kind of ricocheting them off the walls. That seems better this season, and really been enjoying, how he uses them in the fight scenes. And I think all the fight scenes have been good. Some of them have been short, but all the fight scenes have
Yeah.
been pretty solid. The brutality is just always is there in
Hmm.
every scene. I love it. Almost like Matt is, screaming out and getting the devil out of him on anybody he
Yes.
fights.
I have
It's
that down too. Yes. Great
absolutely,
point. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. I also, to kind of build on Ken's point about Val and Charles, I am enjoying seeing the bigger politics of the MCU in play, even at the state level. You know, you've got the mayor of New York storyline, you know, trying to reel in Fisk, and she wanted Vanessa to kind of reel him in, and now Vanessa's gone and she's going to pull her support. And it's kind of cool to see how the different levels keep them in check. And, you know, you got Val in the background, and how that's going to work if, you know, he pisses Charles off. So it's been cool to see those politics in play. Are we doing, should I give cons now?
Yeah, go ahead. Cons,
Just
favorite
little
scene, and then your
cons.
score out of 10.
Yeah, just little cons. Like sometimes the pacing seems a little slow. Like we took forever to get Jessica Jones in.
Yeah.
May only be 2 episodes left or something like that, and it's like we just got Jessica in, and sometimes it's a little slow, but it's just a small thing. And then, you know, the other thing I just can't get over is Spider-Man has got to be in this finale, bro. If Spider-Man is not in the finale, I just can't imagine all of this going down. It seems like
the
a very
heart of
big
New York.
deal. Yeah.
Yes.
And Spider-Man is not involved, especially because he knows Matt. It's like,
yeah, as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I can totally see your point.
I'm having a hard time buying it if he doesn't make an appearance. I don't care. Don't talk to me about the money and how feasible it is. I just feel like he's got to be there. I mean, we'll see. My favorite scene, the diner scene is good. That's a great scene. It could be one of many scenes. The Fisk and Matt scene from this week's episode was great. I love the dialogue going into the fight and the action, and that was good. But I'm gonna go with the one shot that they did when Daredevil released the prisoners back in episode, I think they've been 4. When Daredevil releases the prisoners, they do a great long one shot, and him and the swordsman team up. And I've never seen the swordsman be so effective, so badass. Guy like impaled someone with his you know, rebar he was using in the fight scene, and just the way they shot it was so smooth. All one shot, it looked beautiful. Matt was brutal as hell. He broke one guy's leg, then he stopped to listen for something, then broke it the other way, and it was just fucking. It was beautiful. It was really great. I just love the way they shot that. I'll take that as my favorite scene. Score out of 10. It's hard to give it a proper score till we land it. We got to see where it's going. So for now, I will, to this point, give it a 7.7.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Grinch, want to pass it on over to you?
Oh man. So the pros, it's action. When there is action, the action is great. The story itself for me is actually really, really much better than it was in season 1. I like, you know, the aspects they're dealing with, like, you know, PTSD with, I mean, Karen talks a little bit about it in this last episode, how she's dealing with her stuff. Matt's ex-girlfriend, the doctor, she's clearly dealing with her stuff.
One of many.
Kingpin's about to get his taste of it. You know what I mean? So I like how everybody has their own, like, I mean, it's Daredevil, so they have their own demons per se that they're all dealing with. And I like how they're diving into that this season. The cons, I don't have too many because I'm really am enjoying the season. The pacing, I agree with Don. The pacing is kind of, it can be kind of slow at times. But it to me, it works. It's not a real big thing to me, but it does get kind of slow in like some episodes where it kind of bogs down. So I'm really loving this season. Love, Ken mentioned it, love Bullseye. We had a conversation about a couple weeks ago, and we're, you know, just asking Bullseye against Hawkeye, like, how would that work, or who's gonna, you know, who would come out on top. And I don't want to derail anything like that, but it was just a good conversation to have because Bullseye is just, he's insane. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I've read a bunch of Daredevil and everything, but like, I'm watching what he's doing on the show, and I know it's different from the comics, obviously, but I'm like, yo, he's got to be a mutant because there's just no regular person can do this stuff with a fork and a toothpick through a straw and all this. Like, I
Yeah.
understand he can't miss, but yo, there's got to be a mutant aspect to it. This is it doesn't make any sense. But yeah,
Respect all they're
that's
doing.
what I love. My
Hmm.
favorite scene, probably. I don't have a favorite scene of the season so far, but just rewatching the last episode again when
Yeah.
Karen's about to shoot Bullseye, and
Yep.
then Matt
Yep.
he hits her, he throws a stick at her hand, and she
Yep.
just yells at him like, "What is wrong with you?" I don't know why
Yeah.
it made me laugh, but it did because it was kind of like a thing of like, it's what is wrong with you, and like what is wrong with you, like why'd you do that, and also what is wrong with you, like you can't finish this through, and why can't you finish it through?
Yeah.
So it kind of rang out to me like that. I'm gonna go a little high, because everybody, you guys know me. I don't typically go high on something for the most part. As of recently,
Hmm.
on the movies, I haven't been going high because there's been a lot of bull. But I'm gonna say right now, I'm go with like a solid 9. There's room for error. It can go
Okay.
up. It can go down.
Awesome.
It just
Yeah.
depends on, like we said, how they stick the landing and what else happens. But so far, a solid 9 for me.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I think you
Just to
bring us the same
respond,
points.
just to
Go
respond
ahead.
to one quick thing that Grinch said too,
Of
like,
course.
um, with someone like Bullseye, like if he's free and not locked up, he could literally kill. He could walk into a mall and kill everybody, like without anyone being able to stop him. So like you can really understand Karen's frustration. Like this guy should not just be locked up. He needs
Yeah,
to be in one of those, Civil
6 feet
War
under.
prison match.
yeah.
Yeah, like this
6 feet
guy, like,
under.
yeah, like we have dangerous people, sure, but Bullseye
Yes.
is like way more dangerous than them. So
And flamboyant. And
yeah.
at least and what he can do with any sort of given item
Anything.
that can be launched.
Anything,
Yes.
Right, right,
anything.
right.
That doesn't even
Thrown,
mention the
shot.
foggy angle of it too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that, Grinch. All right, James, on over to you.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I don't want to take up everybody's time by repeating a lot of the same beats, but I do feel the same
Hmm.
consensus that, this season has been much more well produced and well put together compared to as Ken said, the Frankenstein of season one.
Yeah.
A point that I really liked about this season in general, and it's something that I guess I haven't heard brought up yet, was the whole Matt versus Fisk type deal. In the early
Yeah.
seasons of Daredevil as a whole, usually our superheroes are the ones that are operating out in the daylight and
Hmm.
doing their do-gooder stuff,
Yeah.
and the villains are operating from the shadows. And like Fisk was like that in the first 2 seasons of the original Netflix Daredevil, but
Yeah.
this one, it's a lot more flipped in terms of like Daredevil, Karen Page, their entire operation has to operate from the shadows, Fisk style, and then
Yeah.
now Fisk, he's
I
the
like
mayor
that.
of New York. So like that whole kind of like flip on this take is like really, really cool to me and really interesting to me. Um, Another thing that I enjoy is another point that I think you brought up, Ken, like the secondary characters have more to do. BB Ulrich, even though like I'm not hot on the storyline, like she at least has things to do more so than behind the scenes or YouTube video type deals that she's doing in the first season of this show.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff I really like. Some of the things I did not like, I will say that to Grinch, to your point, like some of the plotting and the pacing, I
Hmm.
find myself seeing some of these characters, Karen Page in particular, uh, it feels very samey, even though her character is going through this, like, hey, I kill now, right? Or her
Yeah.
ideal is like to kill now. It just feels very samey to me. Um, and I don't know if that's the actress's fault or if it's the writer's fault or both. Um, Yeah, so that's one thing that, as much as I praise the side
Hmm.
characters for having more to do, a negative for me on this season overall is kind of some of the side characters and like the extra stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
If I was to get off, I'm sorry, favorite scene,
Yeah.
it would have to be the Daredevil and Kingpin fight at the end of the
Yeah.
last episode because if you remember, they fought in front of the painting, the blank
Hmm.
Yep.
painting, right? If you remember when
She sold
Kingpin
them.
first appears in like the original series, it's like the back of his head staring at the that exact painting. Like the
Oh, good
stage was
time.
set that this could have been like the final encounter for them, and
Yeah.
now like and as an audience member, you kind of feel like, oh shit, like they are gonna kill each other, or like this
Hmm.
could literally be the final battle if they didn't cut back and forth to the other thing going on, but like. That in itself, like, just made me, like, as an audience member, even though it's going to continue on for probably another few seasons,
Mhm.
that sense of belief that, like, oh, they're fighting, someone's fighting to the death,
Yeah.
is a testament to the show. Overall, like, I feel like giving a score to this season is probably not. It's invalid, as to everybody said, because we have to see how the whole picture looks. But
Of
I'd probably
course.
give it a solid 6.5 so far.
Okay.
Definitely here for that. And yeah, I think that covers everything that I had for it.
Awesome. And then I think from my side, just want to touch on a couple pros. Ken had mentioned the side characters. I want to go into a couple of details. I think Bobblehead Fisk by Vivi Ulrich is awesome. I love every single time that she pops up on screen, like we're scrolling through TikTok together. She does a great job there. I think Daniel's character, once again, as Ken pointed out, he's an easy to hate character from the audience's perspective, but I think he portrays it really well. So I'd love to give him a shout out for building up, like, this is the scene with the hot dog and he's trying to talk down Buck and stuff like that. Like, I feel like because we're in a TV series, we get to spend a lot of time with these characters, and if they fall flat, it's tough on the show. But there's been a lot of good side character stuff. Another pro for me is kind of what Grinchen mentioned in terms of Karen pulling the trigger. I really thought that, like, she was going to have a secondary thought, and to kind of juxtapose this, like how James had mentioned from the earlier seasons, like Karen's character arc this entire time, for where she was in the beginning of the show to where she is now, is very interesting. So to see her kind of fully live that up and then be ready to pull that trigger, and Daredevil having to come in to save him, I thought was like a really great nuancing that I wasn't expecting, because I thought she was not necessarily going to go through with it. But it speaks to the arc that she's had overall. Um, and then a final pro for me is what James also had talked about in terms of Kingpin operating in the light with his political scope that he now has as the mayor. I really like, as much as I didn't kind of really appreciate when Daredevil stepped in, or Matt, excuse me, had stepped in to save Fisk in the ending of the previous season, the way that he has turned that in terms of having all of the haters look out for Daredevil, and then having all the people on the opposite side that are against him look out for Matt, I thought was like a great tie-in piece where every's got the entire city in one way or
Yeah.
another looking out for this person that they don't know is the same. Um, and then just off the, like, Neanderthal side of me, I don't know how many different surfaces between Matt and our boy Benjamin Poindexter have bounced things off of between now, or between the beginning when Foggy had first passed away and right now. But my goodness, like, they use every single wall, window, surface in there to create as
Stapler,
much mayhem. Yes.
CD.
Yep, down to the crab claw.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
gotten good at anticipating it.
Yes.
Matt has.
So,
He's done a good. He's getting pretty good at that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Because just like another quick point too, I think it's important to remember. I mean,
Yeah.
Bullseye essentially took up the mantle as Daredevil, and there was no drop off. Like, this is really a
Yeah.
dangerous individual that can cosplay as another legendary hero, and there's no drop off. That's
Hello,
pretty
Karen.
scary.
She's like, hey, there's something wrong here.
As he leans back into his Catholic morals. After he's I don't know how many bones he's broken. Enough of like a Batman movie.
Yeah.
As they stepped up, Marvel has stepping this into above a PG-13 rating. A couple of cons. One that I think that no one's mentioned so far, but because, like, things have gone so smoothly on, like James had talked about, everybody's operating under the dark. One thing I'm missing is Matt as a lawyer. I think that I've always done a really good job from Netflix over to Disney of seeing those scenes where he gets to go through the lawyer process, the case handling, working it out with the opposing side in any sort of case. I've appreciated those scenes, and unfortunately, that's been missing. But it has been replaced by things that are good. So I can get on board with that. But
And
yeah,
he
I
can't
think.
work as a lawyer right now anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Veronicas, like to that point quickly, it's interesting. Obviously, now
Yeah,
he's old Daredevil, and I think Spider-Man's taking a similar character arc where in Brand New Day, he's just all
yeah,
Spider-Man because his identity has been
yeah,
erased. So it'll be interesting to watch the two similar characters go through the same
yeah,
character arc in
yeah,
like
and
the
that's
same
really,
months.
and that's really just speaks to, I feel like, me just and us appreciating who, like, his on-screen presence as a lawyer I thought was really good. When you see him talking to the different convicts that he was trying to help defend, when you see him interacting with other lawyers, I thought he did an amazing job as that. So that just speaks more to appreciating that than necessarily it like pulling away from the season overall, because I feel like, yeah, they've incorporated a lot. Another super small thing that just kind of took me out of left field was going through the PTSD, like Grinch had mentioned, I feel like is awesome. I just I don't really know why Buck wanted to get choked there. And like, I don't know, like we could put this in post edit, but like they kind of fixated on his face and like his mouth opens up the end. I'm just like,
Hell
come
yeah,
on, man.
brother.
Like you wanted a
Yeah, I
few
don't know
more
if he was
minutes
getting
of
like
that.
horny for it. It was
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know
I'm so
yet though.
glad.
We don't have the,
Yeah.
the full picture yet.
It's
So
possible he turns her loose. He tries to get her to don the
Yeah.
mask. I don't
And I
know.
was kind of like, okay, but it just like she had left the scene and the camera was just on his face and then his mouth slightly open. And I'm just like, all right, where are we going with this?
the camera
Yeah.
couldn't
A
go
little
down.
weird.
It wouldn't be PG-13.
I love it. But yeah, I think, my favorite scene so far would probably be, oh no, excuse me. One more, I apologize. One more con for me was I felt like Jessica Jones' introduction kind of fell flat for me. I feel like her just kind of stepping outside and allowing all the action to be in like the windows and like the
I want
flashbang
to see the
that
fight.
takes, yes. Yeah. 30 seconds for that flashbang to take off by her daughter, like, and her coming back in was a little bit off. And when they had their rooftop conversation, I felt like it wasn't as impactful as I thought it could be. But once again, I think that's a much smaller problem. Um, my favorite scene, yeah, it's right there with Ken. It's like it's the bullseye scene, and like it's just I'm getting shades of Joker and stuff, and the way that he kind of sits down, he's like preparing everything, and the way he goes about ordering that milkshake, and the interaction he has with the waitress. Like I thought, yeah, that kind of stole the show for me for this season so far. I'd probably give it right underneath an 8. I'd go about 7.8 right now. But yeah, what are some thoughts that we can come up with as a group right now that can extend the conversation? How we feeling?
I got a couple. I was like, oh yeah, I remember. One
Hmm.
con that stuck with me that just popped into my head
Yep.
is, I mean, Ken knows I have a deep disdain for heroes that refuse to kill, and seeing Karen like challenge Matt on that because she's right.
Yeah.
Like he's not Kingpin is not going to stop. We've been through. I mean, who knows how much time in the MCU world, but we went through what 3 seasons of this on Netflix, 2 seasons now. It's like if you haven't gotten the point that he's not going to stop and he's going to kill you or you got to kill him, then
Hmm.
bro, you retire or let somebody else do this.
And it's funny. Go ahead, James.
I was gonna say that's a great. It kind of piggybacks off of the whole point of like how the show's playing with like the expectations from what heroes do and what villains do. Because you have Fisk trying to operate as a governor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to be
As a
like,
mayor,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna,
Yep.
yeah, and it just doesn't go to plan. And then to Grinch's, fantastic point by the way, Grinch. With Karen, like we're talking about corruption within not just like the institution on the Fisk side of things, the government institution, but corruption for like the ideology of like what Daredevil is trying to spread amongst his people. Because
Yeah.
she was gonna shoot Poindexter, like when Daredevil threw his little
Hmm.
baton at her, like she was ready to pull the trigger. Like he
Brains out.
Yeah, she pulled the
yeah,
trigger. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was about to end his life,
Yeah,
and she
she
was
did.
ready to do so and
And
not lose any
didn't ask
sleep
for
over it.
forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to add more points to what Grinch was trying to like to his point because I
Yeah.
agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I
And
like,
even there,
I
like,
like how.
go ahead,
No,
Don.
I'm sorry. No. You can go ahead. We're fine.
Okay.
I'll hop in
I was
next.
just gonna say the way that Daredevil entertains Fisk at the end right before they fight too, I think speaks exactly to your point, where he's like, "We're both not going to stop here." And I kind of didn't really like this. That he was kind of like, and then he starts like, "We both need to retire. We need to take our trips to Cabo to wherever else." Like he just lost his girl. Like there's nothing else. And then just like he was telling Poindexter in the previous episode, where he's like, "Don't say Foggy's name." He goes and says Vanessa's name and just completely sets Fisk off. So I feel like,
to that point,
yeah,
because the doctor was kind of doing the similar stuff. Like, Fisk just lost Vanessa, and I don't know if he was getting spiritual, religious. Obviously, he's no longer in the show now, but like,
Oh,
yes, I thought that was so overstated.
I didn't get, like, I mean, don't, and again, like Fisk, like, look, in the show, this is someone that has crushed a man's skull with his bare hands in front of like 50 people or 30 people. You have to imagine that type of thing spreads like Quicksilver, Barry Allen type fashion.
Yeah, and even that doesn't spread. It just, you saw him fight. We all saw him fight the boxing match. So what do you?
Right. I mean, this dude killed someone. Like this dude killed someone in a boxing match in the middle of like New York City. And, I don't know if he was thinking he was going to uplift Fisk or he was, but give him his space. Give him his space right now.
Yeah, he's like, why are you coming with all this poetry? Fisk doesn't want your poetry.
Yeah. Thank you, Dom. Poetry. It really was.
Man.
He tried to tell Fisk, like, you can just walk away. I won't relate this to another conversation for another show, but like, ain't nobody walking away on this end. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Ken.
From the first second, I was like, the doctor was like, you're done for. Like 5 seconds in, I'm like, I already know we already know what's gonna happen.
Oh, since he put his shoulder on it, his hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, I'm like, just be quiet. And I was like, don't just be quiet. And he touched him. I'm like, oh, come on.
A leader in his field in neuropsychology or neurosurgery, and nowhere near with the words.
No people skills
or understanding.
Read the room.
Or
Like, just a question for the team though, as far as like scale, because obviously, so Karen was ready to shoot bullseye, and I just want to get a sense from the team. I mean, so you have Kingpin. Like Kingpin obviously is an elected, position by the people, and not rightfully so. Obviously, he's the villain. And then you have Bullseye, who, was doing a life sentence, got out because of Vanessa. Do we consider, because like Bullseye could go to, again, anywhere with any weapon and kill 50 people. Who do we consider more, I guess, like dangerous? Because I mean, like you could say, well, Bullseye literally is, he should be in prison. He got out of prison and he can kill 100 people whenever he wants with any weapon. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I don't know which one's worse. Like,
that's what I was going to touch on with Karen. Yeah, I was like, the point she was making about Bullseye, I think she was 100% correct on. Like, he needs to be killed, not just for retribution for Foggy, yes, but also he's just too dangerous, and he's asking for it at the end of the day. I mean,
well, that's the other point, Dom, too. Like, to kind of play devil's advocate on this, he's asking for it, showcases that this guy has a conscience of some sort, which he tries to tell Karen, and before he proceeds to be an asshole to her again. But remember, when he showed up on the show, he was a police officer. Like he didn't just this is before like the entire show. Like he willingly, his character showcased that, and I do think like part of the season 3 of the original Netflix show was to kind of showcase kind of like a mirror Daredevil, right? So there are aspects of him that are I feel redeemable, as opposed to somebody like Kingpin that like this guy's just crazy. So I guess to like go to Ken's point, could you like trust this guy? I don't know, man. I might trust him more so than some of the other characters in this show. I feel like in this current state, from our past episode, he's got more of a sense of clear mind than the doctor with the choking fetish. Her name isn't on the thing here, so I don't remember her name, but yeah.
Matt's X.
Yeah, but also I feel like Matt is right in his methods against Kingpin. I don't think he should try and kill Kingpin. So I understand both points, and I think Karen is right in one, and I think Matt is right in the other. Yeah. I think Matt does need to take down Kingpin in a way that brings justice, know.
And Ken, if you could restate, so you're putting up Poindexter against who?
Kingpin, because I was just wondering
specifically,
I don't know, like even far as just like pure numbers. Let's just be mathematical now. How many deaths are Kingpin responsible for versus how many casualties.
Because you're talking about a systematic level of corruption that's going to feed into a bunch of minions and a bunch of deaths that way. You know, you got your AVT TF officer pulling the trigger on his own guy for obviously giving away the key card.
That's fair.
And then with Poindexter, it's interesting too because now he's so unhinged that he's killed for both sides. So now everybody's at risk. Everybody's at risk with Bullseye. So, and you visually just get to see that he'll just show up at a diner and just start taking people out. And maybe it is against one side in particular, but yeah, it's completely unhinged at this point. So
if he was truly crazy, he would have made that little bullseye sign on the door with human blood taking somebody's arm and like drawing. But he used ketchup, so like that also kind of shows
that's crazy
visually, and like through character motivation. That there is a little bit of conscience in there. I'm not saying there's much. He's a villain, but like there's a little bit there, you know.
Yeah,
he's more stable than what you think.
Yeah. Thank you, Grinch. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
It won't take much for him to snap again, though, and it's just
I agree. Yeah.
It's not worth the risk to keep him alive, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I have a quick question.
Go ahead,
where's Frank?
Yelling somewhere.
We're gonna get the Marvel one shot at the end of the season finale, which will answer that question.
I know that, but I'm like, is he like? So he just escaped and then just disappeared? And like, all right, Kingpin.
He's taking that retirement.
Like, he had something bigger
partial
to
retirement.
Do. Yeah,
that Matt's talking about with Fisk.
But I like how Karen keeps his legacy alive. You know. She is the Frank of this season. Her methods, the way she views the situation, it does kind of keep Frank alive. I like how they've kind of played that this season.
She is challenging. She's challenging Matt just like Frank did. So she is keeping it alive. And my last time will be when Danny shows up. I'm gonna roll my eyes so hard. Like it's just gonna be so bad.
Yeah, because he's definitely coming in season 3 because of the set photos. But
they'll be there. They'll be there in the final episode. But I'm just like,
okay. I'm pretty sure Luke will be there. But okay,
yeah, that's
fine.
Like, we'll see.
Right. I mean, like I know the actor really feels the responsibility to do better. What happened, and maybe there's a lot of things. Maybe it was the writing. Obviously, some of it was him. I know he didn't have a lot of time to train, so I think he's definitely acknowledged that he could have been better. So I'm excited to see him like take on the challenge of being better. Plus, like with the writing team and the showrunners from the MCU this season. Yeah, from the MCU. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. One last thing though. One last thing quickly, because when Jessica was talking to Matt, she said that of the powered characters, there were a few of them that decided to accept Charles's offer. I wonder if Luke was one of those. That'd be damn interesting if someone knocked on your door and it was Luke Cage, and you got to go. With that would be very and terrifying. Because to speak to a few people's points earlier, I think we've all said it in different ways. I mean, like the show is very much more comic booky, at least far as like fighting and action scenes. Like Matt was very, very grounded in the Netflix show. Here, it's grounded still, but he's doing a lot of different flips and he's using the Billy Club more, to Dom's point. So I'm excited to see Luke get that power boost and what that's going to look like in the finale.
Yeah. All right.
And that was his daughter, right? I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
He's got skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think that earlier question is a good one to send out to all the viewers too. If you're sitting there and you're about to enjoy your banana milkshake inside the diner, and you have a choice of Fisk walking in or Poindexter walking in, and you just think about to yourself, who's the bigger threat? Who is that?
That's definitely bull. I'd say Bullseye.
Well, I know, but it depends on how selfish you are, selfless you are. Are you thinking about everybody else? Are you thinking about who he is as a mayor? Or are you thinking about, there's a fork right next to me, I'm dead?
Very fair.
There's a straw right next to me.
Kingpin doesn't get his hands dirty that often, though, himself, He's always got somebody else doing it. So
Unless you're a doctor.
Also menacing.
Or the police
Oh.
commissioner.
No.
Oh yeah. Good point, Grinch.
But yeah, with that being said, we'll throw that question out. If you guys love to leave a comment down below with your interpretation of that question, as long as with any other thoughts or anything like that. I appreciate everybody's time here today in our first segment of our first episode. Love to see it. We will see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, team.